time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely. Won't you start all reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning and welcome to Story Time. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're doing well wherever you're joining us from today. Welcome. Great stories, great lineup, lots of lessons this week. Poetry, yes, who doesn't love poetry? And so much more. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you're ready. I hope you're excited as I am for this wonderful week that we have lined up for us all. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Good morning to you. Please, as always, let me know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. Welcome to Story Time. Today we start off with a wonderful story. Yes, Ganesha's Sweet Tooth. And this one is written by Sanjay, Patel, and Emily Haynes. And we're reading this one with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Yes, it is a good one. And a little insight into, like the literature, the Hindu literature, the beginnings of Hindu literature. So I am excited to share this one, and I'm still learning a lot. I still need to learn a lot more, but it's just great to have this little piece and understand a little bit of a different culture. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I hope you're ready for this one. Yes, Ganesha's Sweet Tooth. I am excited for it, and I'm excited for all the books that we have. How are you doing? How is it where you are? What are you having for breakfast? How was your weekend? Yes, and I hope that you have a wonderful week ahead of you. Good morning to you, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in. Happy Monday. Yes, I am excited to be here with you, and always appreciate the time that we get to spend together. Who is with us this morning studying us off? Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you, baby Theo. How are you doing today? Kate, and of course, not forgetting you, Garrick. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining us out in sunny Pittsburgh. Well, love it. Thank you so much for joining in. It is the sun is coming out here in Oakland actually today, earlier than the last few weeks. So I'm excited about that. And it is going to be a little hot today, a little bit too hot for my liking, but we're still here. It'll be a great day. Thank you so much for joining in, baby Theo, Garrick, and of course, Kate. How are you doing today? Amanda West, how are you? Good morning to you out in Illinois, and you're saying slightly cooler, cloudy and slightly cooler out in Illinois. But of course, I am not forgetting to say hi to you, Sarah and Nathan. Good morning to you. How are you doing today? Thank you so much for being here on Story Time. Good morning out in Illinois. Thank you so much for joining us today. Oh, yes, indeed. Good morning to you, Amanda in Seattle. How are you doing today, baby Bia? Wow, good morning to you. Thank you so much. I'm glad you woke up just in time to be here for Story Time. Thank you so much for joining in, and you're saying happy Monday to everybody from sunny Seattle. Well, it is sunny everywhere today. Enjoy it, enjoy it. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you. How are you doing, Amanda? And of course, baby Bia and Marlene and Nate. We do not forget you as well. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Good morning to you. How are you doing today, Miss Ingrid? Good morning to you. And you're saying great to be here for Story Time. Well, I am happy you are here for Story Time today. Thank you so much for joining in. Excited for this wonderful story that we have today. Ganesha's Sweet Tooth, written by Sanjay Patel and Emily Haynes, and reading it with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. A big good morning to you and welcome, and we'll get ready to get started with our story. And yes, join me on the other side of
I'm Meenal Patel, and I am an artist, designer, and the author and illustrator of Priya Dreams of Marigolds and Masala, and you are watching Storytime with Mr. Lamada.
Welcome back. Good morning. All right, here we go. Ganesha's Sweet Tooth, written by Sanjay Patel and Emily Haynes, and of course, reading it with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. All right, here we go. I love the colors in this one. Oh, did I skip a page? Look at that. Mr. Lamada skipping pages. Oh, no. All right. Look at that. How pretty is that? Ganesha is a Hindu god. He is very important and powerful and a tad chubby. Ganesha, how are you today? But when he was a kid, he was just like any other kid, except that he had an elephant's head and cruised around on a magical mouse collecting fruit, rice, sweets, and other gifts from the temples in the neighborhood. Wait a second. Ganesha had an elephant's head and cruised around on a magical mouse, collecting fruit, rice, sweets, and other gifts from the temples in the neighborhood. Oh my! Ganesha, where did you get the elephant's head? Where do you think Ganesha got the elephant's head? Whoa. Ganesha loved to eat sweets and candy, especially the traditional Indian dessert, laddu. His best friend, Mr. Mouse, could eat only one at a time, which was okay by Ganesha. He didn't want to share all his laddus. Squeak, Mr. Mouse says. One day, while Ganesha and Mr. Mouse were out looking for sweets, they discovered a new kind of laddu. What was it? It was the super jumbo jawbreaker laddu. Whoa, that sounds so cool and so scary too. Wow, what do you think it is? The super jumbo jawbreaker laddu. Whoa. Ganesha snatched up the shiny treat and was about to eat it right there on the spot. Wait, squeaked Mr. Mouse. Don't eat it. It's like a jawbreaker. It will break your tusk. But Ganesha said, but I am a god. I am invincible. Ganesha popped the laddu in his mouth. He bit down and what do you think happened? Whoa. Oh, snap! Squeak! Oh no! Mr. Mouse yelled. How will I ever put my tusk back? Ganesha wailed. Ganesha was very clever and tried all sorts of ideas. What if I tie it with a string? What if I stick it on with glue? Maybe I could just hold it on with my hand. But nothing worked. What was Ganesha going to do? What do you think Ganesha should do? What can help put the tooth back, the tusk back? I look lopsided, he said. Everyone will laugh at me. No, they won't, said the mouse. Everyone loses their teeth, and besides, You already have an elephant's head and your friends still love you. Oh, you're a great friend, Mr. Mouse. What will happen next? Ganesha wasn't convinced. He thought he looked awful. He took his anger and frustration and hurled his task at the moon. But the task didn't hit the moon. It sailed over a bush and hit the head of an old man who was walking by. Ouch! Ooh! Ooh! I'm sorry, old man. Is this your task? The old man asked. I am sorry, said Ganesha. I didn't mean to hit you. I was aiming for the moon. What's your name? I am Ganesha, and this is Mr. Mouse. You're Ganesha? The old man explained. I've been looking for you. Why has this old man been looking for Ganesha? Whoa, I am Vyasa, the poet, and I need a special scribe for a poem. It's so long that no man could ever write the whole thing. All the pens in the world would break before it was done. Wow, that is a long poem. And can you imagine being a scribe for that? Do you think Ganesha can do it? Whoa, Ganesha is a long poem. I am not a man, said Ganesha, and I love stories. We love stories too, right? But I don't have anything to write with. What about your tusk? Vyasa asked. That's just a big tooth, Ganesha said. It's a very special tooth, Vyasa explained, handing Ganesha a piece of paper. Give it a try. Here you go. Whoa. Ganesha took the paper and pressed down with the tip of his tusk. It made a mark. Ganesha was so excited that he drew a flower and a tree and a picture of Mr. Mouse, along with other few things, other of his favorite few things. Whoa! What would you draw if you had a magic pen like that? I love it. Ganesha was so excited that he drew a flower and a tree and a picture of Mr. Mouse, along with a few of his other favorite things. So cool. I want to do that too. Look at that picture. Whoa. I love my task, said Ganesha. I will be happy to help you. What is your story about? Vyasa was happy. The beginning of things, said Vyasa. It's rather hard to sum up. It's called the Mahabharata. Mahabharata. You might want to look this up, kids, later with your parents at home. What is the Mahabharata? The beginning of things. Oh, wow. 1. Excuse me, said Mr. Mouse, jumping on the end of Ganesha's trunk. I don't mean to interrupt, but what exactly are the terms of this agreement? It is a very long poem after all. Can you tell the whole story in one go, Vyasa? Not stopping? Do you think you can do it? As long as Ganesha understands the meaning of everything I say. Can I eat sweets while I write? Asked Ganesha. As long as you don't stop writing, said Vyasa. Ganesha and Mr. Mouse agreed. Let's begin. Oh, they began their epic writing. Whoa, this is going to be something. As Vyasa spoke, Ganesha put his task to the paper and began writing. Soon, he forgot all about the super jumbo Jawbreaker Ladu and how funny he looked. He even forgot about the sweets he wanted to eat. Oh, kept busy. Long ago, they began, Vyasa said. There lived a very brave king of Hastinapur. One day when he was out hunting, he happened upon a beautiful woman sitting on the banks of the Ganga River. And as you know, the Ganga River is one of the largest in the world. And it is found in India. Look at all that. Whoa. What a cool story in there. What do you think it's telling? 100,000 verses later. Whoa. 100,000 verses later, Ganesha put down his tusk. The Mahabharata, the great epic of Hindu literature, was complete. Look at all those pages. All those pages. Wow. Vyasa told a long story, but how about Ganesha writing all that? Ganesha peeked around a stack of paper and saw that Mr. Mouse had been eating his way through the ladus as they worked. The poem had taken a very long time. Wow. Mr. Mouse is so full. Wow. But Ganesha was happy to see that there were still a few left for him and his friends. The end. Oh, thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I am glad you were here to enjoy that one with me. And yes, just a reminder too that sometimes even the things that seem broken, even the things that seem useless, are indeed useful in their own way, in their own time. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope that we have that wonderful reminder from this beautiful story. And of course, just enjoyed learning about the culture, a snippet, a tiny bit of the Hindu culture. Thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing in this wonderful story. And as the author's note on the back says there, I hope that you can, when you have the book, you can read it some more and just find out what this story, where this story comes from, and what this whole story of the poem of the Mahabharata begins. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm glad that we're able to share that one together. Some great poetry, some great learning indeed. Let us continue to dig deep and find out more about our neighbors and our colleagues, our communities. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Wonderful time together reading about one of the Hindu gods, Ganesha. Yes, Ganesha's sweet tooth. Thank you so much to Sanjay, Patel, and Emily Haynes, and of course, Chronicle Books of San Francisco for allowing us to read this one right here on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in. And remember, if you miss Storytime at 7 a.m. Pacific time, you can catch us at 11 a.m. Pacific time and enjoy more stories. Thank you so much for joining in today. And we're back tomorrow with more poetry. And tomorrow we have a few poems, pocket full of poems. It'll be a fun one indeed. And let us see all the words that are there for Tiana, and we'll be enjoying that one. And this one is written by Nikki Grimes and illustrations by Javaka Steptoe. Do join in for that one tomorrow. Pocket full of poems. It is a beautiful one indeed. As you know, just poetry is beautiful, and I'm excited to share that one with you. Thank you for being here today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you loved it. And I hope that you have, like so many more questions to ask, so many more questions to answer, and look forward to researching more about what we just read. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. Let us see one more time who was with us and got to enjoy that story. Thank you so much for being here. Amanda, thank you so much for sharing that. Baby Bia, I hope you enjoyed it. Good morning to you. Thank you out in Seattle. And you were saying it is sunny out there today. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely love it. And I hope you had a great weekend as well. And Amanda, I saw that you were working late. I hope you're well rested. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Good morning to you one more time. Miss Ingrid, you say such a beautiful story, so beautiful story. Thanks for sharing. Well, absolutely. Absolutely, that's why we're here, to share wonderful stories together. And of course, if you have other stories out there that you love to read, that you'd love to hear on Storytime, we'd love to see on Storytime, please do share them, send them to me, and we'll do our very best to bring them to you on Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in. Tomaida Zulu, all the way out in Zambia, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today? Is it good evening out there? Well, late afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I hope you're getting ready for a lovely evening out there in Lusaka, Zambia. Thank you so much for joining us. One more time, Theo, Garrick, and of course, Kate, joining us out in Pittsburgh. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning to you. Absolutely appreciate you. One more time, Sarah and Nathan, how are you doing out in sunny Illinois? I hope you had a wonderful time. I hope you enjoyed our story today, Ganesha's Sweet Tooth. Yes, this one by Sanjay, Patel, and Emily Haynes. And of course, a big thank you to Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Do not miss out. Tomorrow, we are on a journey, a poetic journey with pocket full of poems. Do join me for this one, written by Nikki Grimes and illustrations by Javaka Steptoe. Do join me for that one tomorrow, and we'll be having fun together. Thank you so much for joining in. Miss Ingrid out in Patagonia, Argentina. Thank you so much for joining us. Always a pleasure having you here. And to everybody that joined in and everybody that is joining us after this at 11, enjoy story time. And if you're joining us later on, please, I hope that you continue enjoying the stories and continue looking at our archives with all the different stories in there. And remember to find these books at your local library. Ask for them at your school and everywhere else where you find books, and continue enjoying them. And this is just one book that we've read today. I hope that you find many more to enjoy today. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime, and I hope that we learned something. Like me, I hope you're learning something a little bit about Hindu culture, and I am interested in learning a little bit more. Thank you so much for being here. Much love from me. Appreciate each and every one of you out there. I will see you again tomorrow when we're back for more story time. Another great story, great poems await us tomorrow. And of course, as you know, we have an amazing lineup this week, just as any other week. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Good afternoon indeed out in Lusaka, Zambia. Thank you so much for joining us. Tomaida Zulu, to everybody that was here, have a wonderful, wonderful day today. Enjoy it. Remember to play your part. It may seem small, but it is absolutely important. And all those little things that we think maybe don't quite fit, don't quite work, they do. In their own time, it will be revealed. Thank you so much for joining me on Storytime today. I appreciate each and every one of you out there, and I hope that your day is off to a great bounce. And if you're like Tomaida, your day is coming to an end. I hope you had a wonderful day, and I wish you an evening full of great, wonderful dreams. Thank you so much for joining in. See you tomorrow right here, 7 a.m. Pacific time, and of course 11 a.m. Pacific time as well. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some with people who look like me, others very different from the way that I look and think. Read me all of your stories. Read me all of your stories. Some stories from far away, others right here in my neighborhood. Story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be